Conflict. As the world teetered on the brink of anarchy, a new hope arose. An elite international task force charged with ending the war and restoring liberty to all nations. Overwatch.
Serving as Blizzard Entertainment's first original IP in almost 2 decades, Overwatch is the newest entry in the small genre of hero-based shooters previously dominated by Team Fortress 2. In it, you choose from 21 different heroes and join a team of 6 for objective-based multiplayer mayhem. With matches lasting 10 minutes or less and easy-to-learn, tough-to-master characters, Overwatch is a great game for veterans and newcomers to the genre. But with a $60 price point, is the multiplayer-focused game worth the price of admission? In Overwatch, team composition is important to completing match objectives. However, choosing one character does not mean that they are locked out for anyone else. So you run into many scenarios where teams have multiples of the same hero, or you end up fighting yourself on the opposite team. This can create some uneven matches, because in Overwatch there are always characters that can counter the strengths in others. Having 2 or more people on your team play as the same character can make for easy pickings, but you can also take advantage of this if the other team does it, provided you learn the hero's strengths and weaknesses. Many players won't be bothered by this, instead focusing on the gameplay itself, and here Overwatch is nearly flawless. Matches are made quickly, and the game helpfully suggests which class of characters your team is missing without forcing the role on you. You can even choose to switch to other heroes mid-game as often as you'd like. Once in, objectives are clear, and playing to the strengths of your heroes will go further than just running in guns blazing. Overwatch provides 4 different classes of characters, although these are broken down even further, depending on each hero's abilities. Offensive characters are able to move fast and hit hard, but getting caught up in a prolonged fight will cause their small health pools to drop quickly. Opposite of these are the tank classes. These are large, slow-moving characters who can take a beating and dish out punishment, but their size makes for easy targets and their effectiveness drops as range increases. Which brings us to the defense characters. Different from tanks, their roles are often called builders or snipers. These heroes can hold positions by either building or becoming turrets, or by taking up posts at long range and sniping. The final class is support. These characters don't last long in the direct fight, but when paired up with their teammates, they become invaluable. Buffing allies, debuffing enemies, and healing your team is the name of the game, and going into battle without a support class can often spell defeat. There are 12 maps across 4 types of objectives: capture and defend points, escort the payload, a combination where the first team to capture a point must then escort the payload, and a capture the hill style mode called control. Each map is built around one of these objectives, leading to very tight pacing. No one is ever out of the action for very long, and everyone has a different role to play, and where to play it from. One thing missing from all this is a traditional deathmatch. Overwatch isn't overly concerned with players' kill-death ratio, and this may come as a bit of a shock to the Call of Duty crowd. Camping at spawn points isn't going to do much good when the objective is being lost halfway across the map. Taking down enemies is absolutely important to victory in Overwatch, but by not placing the emphasis on that one aspect, Blizzard has opened up the doors to many more players, who may not be as interested in the kill-everything-that-moves playstyle. Instead, each player gets to contribute in a meaningful way by effectively playing their selected hero, and the game will often reward that. During the end of the match, you can vote for the player of the game, and in every match you're just as likely to see someone recognized for healing over 40% of the total team damage, or holding an objective for several minutes, as you are for a high kill streak. While taking place in the near future, Overwatch has a specific stylization to it. It's not an ultra-realistic looking game, nor is it ugly or deformed. Instead, the characters and setting have an excellent and timeless feel similar to the best animated films. You can tell which hero is coming at you from far off based on their design, and the world, while full, never feels cluttered or confusing. All paths eventually lead to the objective, and it's difficult to get lost, even when you spend time looking at the little touches. And these little touches are everywhere. Overwatch doesn't tell you a story through its gameplay. Rather, the world is filled with hints about who these characters are and their various paths and how they interact with each other. From posters to photographs to in-game dialogue, all of Overwatch members are actually fleshed out for those that take the time to notice. In the music department, everything is par for the course. The main Overwatch theme is great, but the music throughout the game was never anything much to admire. It's not bad by any means, in fact, it's pretty well done. There's just nothing particularly special about it. I actually found myself turning the music volume down in order to hear the sound effects, and that's because in Overwatch, the sound effects matter. A good player must always be listening to clues in order to figure out what's about to happen. If a Junkrat's ultimate rip tire is heard screeching around, you know to get away from your teammates to minimize the damage. When McCree exclaims that it's high noon, that means it's high time for you to cut to cover, or you'll be taken out in one shot. The sound of explosives heading your way is an indication that Pharah is about to descend from the sky to blast your team away from the objective with her rockets. The sound effects are well done and clear, and with good reason. Each character sounds unique as they move through the level, and an alert player can tell just by listening what sort of enemies are trying to outflank them. Even the best games aren't perfect, and Overwatch is no exception. Some people tend to equate value with quantity, and to them, 12 maps and 4 game modes might seem underwhelming. But Overwatch has the ability to provide hours upon hours of entertainment for those who become invested in this multiplayer shooter. On top of that, Blizzard has already announced that all additional content, including maps, heroes, and game modes, will all be made available free of charge. Therefore, the initial purchase can be seen as an investment for those who intend to play for a long period of time. Overwatch does offer dreaded microtransactions. These, however, only allow you to purchase cosmetic options like skins and victory poses for characters, and have absolutely no effect on gameplay. Anything that can be purchased can also be unlocked during normal gameplay, so the option does not detract from the game in any significant way. There's no play to win here. These loot drops, though, are possibly Overwatch's greatest weakness. Every level, you gain a loot box, and these loot boxes contain 4 items, ranging from spray paints to new character skins. It's often the case that opening one is more of a disappointment rather than a joy. Getting these less interesting cosmetic upgrades is a bit of a letdown, but with so many different items to collect for each character, it's certainly a system that makes you want to push for that next level. There are other minor issues that pepper the game. Playing with friends can be great fun, but it can also be an absolute chore. If the group leader backs out of a round, it can disband the whole team with little warning, leaving you to have to resend invites. And speaking of invites, Overwatch does include an in-game social page similar to Destiny, but all invites are sent through PSN rather than in-game. Finally, the issue people tend to complain about the most is play of the game. After every round, a short video shows the best play of the game. The system, however, can have a very strange sense of what constitutes best, but Blizzard has promised they are working on that. As a brand new IP, Overwatch is excellent. In an era when banking on existing properties is a more financially safe option, Blizzard decided not to skimp on this game. They promised a multiplayer shooter and delivered, along with an expanded universe that will open up to other types of media for those interested in delving deeper. With the promise of competitive play in the near future and free additional support, fans of the genre will absolutely love Overwatch. However, Blizzard has also made it accessible to gamers less familiar with this niche genre through smart gameplay decisions. The world and characters are a joy to look at and even more fun to play, while the game is easy to pick up and rewards players for tackling the objectives in their own way. For a more in-depth written review, visit mammothgamers.com.